Hello, I'm Kristen. I have been a police wife for 10 years, and I'm really excited to bring you this new series where I am talking about two of the arguments in my police marriage I have lost, but it was a good thing. And the third will be the biggest mistake that I have made in my police marriage. So I hope that you enjoy. And if you are dating a police officer, or you're dating a cop, or you are married to a cop, this is the channel for you. Consider subscribing for more videos every Monday, 6 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. I also have an Instagram page at Heels and Holster, and I love our community there, so definitely join us. And I also have a book, Heels and Holster Police Wife Devotional, where I have 42 stories about my own police marriage and dating life and Bible verses and prayers, and it is intended for you to have relatable topics and kind of themes in my marriage. I share the stories from my come to Jesus growth moments in our marriage, and I hope that you will enjoy it, and I will link that below in the description. Okay, so the very first thing I want to talk about today is one of the arguments that I lost, but it was okay. It was a good thing. I'm going to give you a little bit of background in that kind of in our marriage. We had been dating on and off for 10 years, then finally got engaged and tied the knot. And at that point, we were actually long distance. Rick and I both moved around a lot for school and our careers at the beginning of kind of our life, and then finally settled. And after getting married, we were long distance for 2 years, and then I was able to move in with Rick right as I was about to have Maverick, our first son. So I was pregnant and still kind of juggling that crazy life, and then we moved in together. And when we moved in together, we literally had a month before having Maverick. So most of our lives as a married couple, full-time living together, we had children. And right away kind of had one child, and then 2 years later we had Leonidas. So they are now, just to give you some context, ages 5 and 7 are boys. But it feels like yesterday going through this. So right away, I have my first baby, and I went through a lot with that. I probably had like the verge of postpartum depression, at least anxiety. I consider it more anxiety. I wasn't really like crying a lot, but I was really anxious about Maverick and about being like the perfect mom. And I don't know, I just had so much anxiety. Rick dealt with me really well. My husband, he was really awesome, but I was really anxious. And Rick at the time was working in a specialized gang unit, which was working a lot of hours. It meant a ton of overtime, a ton of unexpected overtime and schedule changes. And I reflect on scheduling in other videos. I will try to link those below, and like how I deal with the unexpected. Just to give you some context is that Rick's work, he's a Metropolitan Police Officer in Los Angeles, and they get 4-week deployment periods that do not correspond with the calendar month. So his new deployment period might start on the 2nd week of a calendar month. Super fun to juggle. And we don't know his schedule beyond that. It's a blast. Okay. And that really created a lot of tension for me. This is not the argument I'm going to talk about that. I talk about that in another video. But it does contribute a lot to my anxiety, because I really didn't know like when he was going to be home, when he was going to be at work. And as a new mom who we did not have a lot of family around, we had my aunt who was awesome and helped us out as needed sometimes, but it wasn't like consistently she came over like a lot to help. It was sort of like as needed. I would ask her, and she was awesome. I'm very thankful for that, but it wasn't like having like my own mom or sister or something like that local to kind of help and just be around. Sometimes I feel like after you have a baby, you need to like be around other people. And I was alone a lot. I had just moved to Los Angeles, and Los Angeles is not a place that's very easy to get to know people. So in addition, Rick was at this place in his career. He's on 16 years now. So at that time, it was like 9-10 years. He was at a place where he really wanted to go into a different specialized unit. He was working in gangs, and he was considering applying for SWAT. Right, and the time was coming up to try out, like right as we're having Maverick. So Rick was intensely working out. He was going to a CrossFit gym that was kind of close to our house, and that was also taking time away from the family, right? So he'd have a day off or something, and he would go work out, and he'd be gone like at least a good hour and a half. Those workouts sometimes are over an hour, and I was needing just people there. I think I was like lonely. I was needing help with the baby, like just to have time to breathe. And it was really affecting me. And I told him, like, I feel like you going to this gym is like a luxury. I remember using that word, right? And he was like, it like really upset him, really pissed him off, because he said, it's not a luxury for me. I need to work out and stay in shape for work. And I really didn't see that connection yet. I was a new police wife, kind of new to this life. It's very different. Like when I was dating him, I feel like my understanding of being a police wife like kind of trickled here and there in stories and experiences that we shared together. This was one of them that helped me to kind of understand him and understand what this meant to him. And there's other things that I've heard from other wives, like maybe their husbands are going to the shooting range or they're dry shooting, they're practicing those skills, different than physical and like exercising or working out skills and building muscle and strength and all of that, but similar in the intent that they want to feel more prepared, like when they're out there in the field in their work. So we have this kind of intense argument, and I don't tell him to like stop working out, but he did, but he didn't go as often back then. Now he goes a lot again. Our lives are different today, but he did stop working out as intently, and he didn't try out for SWAT. So I guess I won that argument. We didn't even discuss him not trying out for SWAT. Like he just knew it wasn't the right time because I needed him home more. But the argument that I lost was the working out one. Like I felt like, well, why can't you just work out at home? I remember we had this, like, I forgot what it's called. It was like a little set of like equipment, like workout equipment at home. We ended up getting rid of that when we moved because neither of us used it. We usually go out to a gym, and if I do workouts at home, I just use like free weights or something like that, which is usually what I do. So I felt like, well, why can't you use that? Like workout at home like I do. I had done like videos, which I still do, working out at home, or I started to go to like mom workout groups at parks and stuff like that. But usually I was with our son at that time, Maverick. So he ended up working out a little less, but he didn't stop going like ever, I think, since we've been married. And that has become such a blessing. Okay, so like looking back on it, I did quit over time, right? Like I heard him telling me like, hey, this isn't a luxury for me. I need to do this. And I stopped bugging him about that. I do think that like sometimes he feels like I put a little guilt on him. I really try not to for working out. I really don't have it anymore. I think there's days when I'm tired and he gets home and he had been working out. It's not about the workouts that maybe he had worked I had been alone all day and I'm tired. I'm not upset with him for working out though. It has changed over time, like my perception of it. In addition, Rick ended up having back surgery a couple years ago due to an injury on duty, and during that time of recovery is really when he started to like work out more intensely. It kind of came along with our boys getting older and me not needing like as much help, right? Like they're more independent, so I'm more independent too. So he works out 6 days a week now, and he does wrestling and jujitsu and CrossFit, and like all of those are really intense workouts. And I've been lucky enough I've been to both of the gyms that he goes to. One has like the jujitsu and wrestling, and then the other one has CrossFit. It's just like its own gym. And the CrossFit gym is so awesome. And I remember somebody telling me that this was meaningful for them to hear, so I want to share it with you, is that his CrossFit gym's kind of far. He still goes to that same one, you guys, that we argued about like 7 years ago. And we have now moved about a half hour away. So it used to be like right next to our house. And imagine now it's like adding an hour drive onto there. So I remember being like, why do you have to go to that one? Because it's like adding extra time away from the family, which now he usually goes after work. So I just kind of like add it into his work time. He does go, I guess, 1 or 2 days a week. That's like not on his work day, but anyway, on his work days, I just kind of added into his work day. He's usually not home that much anyway, so it's not a big deal. But when I went, I realized why he liked it. Like I realized that he has now known the owner of that gym for 7 years and built a relationship with him. I saw a police flag on the wall. And during this, where we live, there's not a lot of police supporters. So I knew like, okay, this is a place where he feels safe. This is a place he's grown as an individual in his health, right? and he's like connected to it. So that's why he goes to that one still, even though we moved further away. And like, it really helped me to go. And so I had another wife tell me that she went and visited like her husband's gym, and it really helped her. And plus they were so supportive. Like, I was a newbie, like I work out at home, and they just like met me where I was, you know. And I remember when he was recovering from back surgery, they let him just lift like a PVC pipe. Like, he was just lifting this tiny thing to kind of get back in shape. And they always are cheering each other on, and like, it's so positive. And then the other gym that he goes for wrestling and jiu-jitsu, we used to take our boys during COVID when everything was closed, and like on the DL, they were still a little bit open. A lot of gyms were doing that for survival of business, and they still had a kids class, so we took the kids. And I remember feeling so awesome, like, oh my gosh, like these other people are out, their kids are going to classes, and it felt so good to like get out of the house. I have to be honest. I will not mention which gyms those are. I don't want to get them in trouble, but yeah, it was so nice. So I feel like over time, first of all, like, and I've seen, okay, so I want to clarify this, that he is healed by this. Like, by exercising, by working out, not only does it build his confidence to go to work, and he says, especially as he's gotten older, he's in his 40s, he's like, I need to be able to wrestle potentially like a strong 21-year-old, right? Like, and so it builds his confidence, and it also improves his mental health. Like, he literally dances sometimes when he gets home from the gym, and it's like, who is this? Or he's not usually like that. So I see it like improving his mental health, and I see it as a way that he stays safe at work, right? And so I think if your police boyfriend or police husband is having something that is taking him away from the family, but he is doing it like for his health, we got to support them. We got to get behind them on that, and know that it's for them and it's for us, right? As a family and as a couple, for him to stay healthy and safe at work. So I hope that you enjoyed this video, getting to know a little bit more about what can be helpful. And I hope, I'm going to also link a resource below that I've shared before, that is Adopt a Cop Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and it is a nonprofit that they're not sponsoring this or anything like that, but Rick has used their service for this last year. They will cover, basically it's like $50 of the jiu-jitsu gym membership every month, and your boyfriend or husband would have to post on social media that they are working out at that gym, but that's not that much to ask for like a $50 a month reimbursement on your gym membership, and sometimes those are expensive. And then also, just another tip is to ask the gym if they have a law enforcement discount, because ours does locally, and it's lovely. So I look forward to seeing you next video, and I'm going to tell you more about another argument I lost and why it was a good thing. I hope you have a great day.